Hello, hello. Welcome to Reading Time. My name's Time, and this week we're reading Horrid Henry by Francesca Simon. Let's get to reading. Horrid Henry by Francesca Simon is a short book about a boy named Henry who is better known as Horrid Henry as he is very mischievous and destructive. This book consists of 4 different stories about Henry and the different things that he gets into. The first story is entitled Horrid Henry's Perfect Day. The second one is Horrid Henry's Dance Class. The third is Horrid Henry and Moody Margaret. And the fourth is Horrid Henry's Holiday. Each of these stories just tells a little plot line about what Horrid Henry does in these different circumstances. There's always some sort of conflict that is resolved in the end, usually through mischievous means. Horrid Henry is actually part of a larger series with similarly structured books that each have small stories about Horrid Henry. I believe there's 24 or 25 books in the series, and it has also been adapted into a TV show. I'm going to give this book a 3-star rating simply because it didn't really interest me. It wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed. However, I do know that there is a very specific market for this type of story. This book would be especially good for young boys, as I think they would really enjoy the stories and find them really funny. As far as content goes for this book, the only thing that I would bring up is that Henry's behaviors are often destructive. He'll throw tantrums or he'll play tricks in order to get his way. Additionally, his parents don't always seem to be the most supportive, and I do understand that that may just be because he has so many strong behaviors that it makes it difficult to have patience with him. However, in the first story, he's behaving perfectly well, perfectly normal, and trying to actually be better than or act like his younger brother, who is named Perfect Peter. And throughout the story, his parents keep asking what he's getting up to, what he's doing that's wrong, because that's all they expect of him. So I don't think it necessarily paints his parents in the best of lights either, and that's just something that I noted. This book is meant for elementary school age students, probably 2nd through 5th grade. More so on the lower end is where I would put it, as the font is very large and there are pictures throughout. However, I do think it would also be good as a book for reluctant readers, even into middle school. If I were to bring this into a classroom setting, I would probably start by looking at alliteration, which I have gone over in previous videos, but if you don't remember, alliteration is the repetition of initial consonant sounds. So, for example, with Horrid Henry, we have the repetition of that H sound at the beginning. Most of the other characters have alliterative names as well, such as Perfect Peter and Moody Margaret. So, a lesson or activity that could be done with these alliterative names would be to either take a name that is already in the series, or even better, create a different name that is alliterative, and then make a story about that specific person. You could even have students use their own names and come up with alliterative names for themselves. And something that is important to keep in mind with that is that it is not the repetition of the same letter at the beginning, but the same sound at the beginning. So if you were to have names, for examples, that started with a J but made an H sound, you would still want to keep that H sound. This could also be paired with drawings or other types of writing. It could also lead to a discussion about caricatures, and specifically caricatures in literature. How are certain people maybe turned into an inaccurate representation of themselves? This book could also be used to talk about social discussions, especially in those younger grades, on behaviors that one should or should not do, or consequences to actions. If you were to behave in such way, what do you think would happen? Overall, I think it's a pretty cute book. I just didn't particularly enjoy it, but I do think it would be great within the right context and with the right reading audience. This week's poster square is right here on the poster near the middle, and I believe that is just a little outline of Horrid Henry's head from the TV show adaptation. Let me know if you've read Horrid Henry before. Honestly, I had not heard of the series before reading this book, but it kind of reminds me of Junie B. Jones in some ways, which I read quite a lot when I was younger. As always, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you would like to show your support and also get those updates whenever I post videos. Or feel free to like me on Facebook or follow me on Instagram for additional updates and photos of the books I'm reading. And as always, have a marvelous week and a wonderful read.